You know, in this Christmas season, we sing a lot of Christmas songs, and we're going to sing some of those tonight. But it's Sabbath too, right? And that's the time that we remember Jesus creating the world, this universe. And so let's turn to hymn number 388 and sing Don't Forget the Sabbath. Hymn number 388. Don't forget the Sabbath. Don't forget the Sabbath, the Lord our God has blessed. Of all the week, the brightest, of all the week, the best. It brings repose from labor, it tells of joy divine. Its beams of light descending with heavenly beauty shine. Welcome, welcome, ever welcome, blessed Sabbath day. Welcome, welcome, ever welcome, blessed Sabbath day. Keep the Sabbath holy and worship him today, who said to his disciples, I am the living way. And if we meekly follow our Savior here below, he'll give us of the fountain whose streams eternal flow. Welcome, welcome, ever welcome, blessed Sabbath day. Welcome, welcome, ever welcome, blessed Sabbath day. Day of sacred pleasure, its golden hours we'll spend, and thankful hymns to Jesus, the children's dearest friend. O gentle, loving Savior, how good and kind thou art! How precious is thy promise to dwell in every heart! Welcome, welcome, ever welcome, blessed Sabbath day. Welcome, welcome, ever welcome, blessed Sabbath day. Thank you. I've been informed that we have a beautiful program tonight, a mission report, and so we're going to just turn right now to our opening hymn, hymn number 132. O come, all ye faithful. Please stand as we sing together. Hymn number 132. O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Jesus, to thee be all glory given. Word of the Father, now in flesh appearing. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Christ the Lord. Please be seated.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Sabbath. You look tired. So I'm glad it's Sabbath. And this is a very special weekend. A lot of families come together and spend time reflecting on Jesus. And I hope that this weekend brings an opportunity for everyone to draw closer to God. I hope you find excellent material to read and people to spark conversation and speak about things that help us grow in our spiritual walk and in our spiritual life. We have a special presentation this evening, and we're going to hear about a recent trip to foreign lands. And I'm excited about that, especially because Tom is going to present it like the way you present. Oh, okay, yeah. And Paisano here also, yeah, so thank you. Let's have a word of prayer before we begin this evening. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for this week, all the things that you've done for us. And thank you because this is a special time where we can rest and we can spend time with you and with our loved ones and family. And especially this weekend when a lot of families are coming together. Please be in the midst of them, bless them. And as we hear this report from the work that's being done in foreign places, we want to ask for your blessing. Be with those who are going to be sharing this evening. We humbly ask this in the precious name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Well, thank you, Elder Ramirez, for that rousing welcome. I appreciate that. I say Simbu Tabu Minaka, which means Happy Sabbath in Fijian. Now, you've noticed that we have this little sarong here. This is brought from our guests from another church, the Loredos. They have brought this from their from Granite Bay to show us this is a sarong that most of us would wear. We had to wear during the times that we were there, especially if we're going into some villages. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about my little experience. You know, here at Weimar. We can put some slides up for me. Many of you are here at Weimar have heard wonderful testimonies of people going different places to spread the gospel. They use their time, their resources, and to become Jesus' hands to be able to touch others' hearts, to bring them into the kingdom. This year I had the opportunity to go on a trip, because I was moved by many of the testimonies of people that I have heard from this pulpit. And then all of a sudden I got a text from a good friend of mine, Steve Chang. He says, dude, we need to go to Ukraine. There's a mission trip to Ukraine. And I thought, oh, Ukraine, this is my opportunity to go on a mission trip. And of course, there's things that are going on in Ukraine at this time, many things that, undesirable things that are happening there. But I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to be able to do a mission trip to Ukraine. So I told my friends, my family, my wife, and especially my wife said, no, you're not going. She quickly vetoed it. And then other family member says, no, you can't go. I talked to my colleagues, my co-workers in the office, and they said, no, you can't go. You can't go. My patients said, no, you can't go. And then my son-in-law, my only son-in-law says, Tosan, you need to go. He's the only one that says you should go. But of course, I got, after praying about this, and then I got another invitation by our friends, the Loredos. And they said, Tom, we're going to Fiji. You should come. You should come to Fiji with us. And I thought, oh man, where should I go, Lord? I started praying. I said, well, should I go to a tropical island, in the South Pacific, warm, or should I go to a place where there's a lot of gunshots and threats of nuclear bombs going to be thrown on you? And so after talking to my wife, my lovely, wise wife, and you know what her opinion was, and I thought, well, this is probably a good thing because it's a good thing. Maybe she still wants me to be around. If I wasn't having such a good relationship with her, she may be saying, well, you should go to Ukraine. But so we decided to go to Ukraine. And so the Granite Bay Church, what has happened, the Granite Bay Church and Shepherd's Call Ministries have come together, banded together to organize this trip with the Fiji conference to have a medical and evangelistic team. And this was going on in advance, months in advance, and a lot of face-to-face meetings, Zoom meetings, getting all the details together. Dr. George Liu and Christian Birdall were the ones that spent most of their time organizing this, and they spent time fundraising for this project. And part of this project also was going for the building of a clinic that is going to be happening in the inland interior of the island, where medical access is very poor. So our team consisted of about 45 members. They were medical providers, dentists, surgeons, nurses. We had a CRNA coming with us, a radiology tech, ultrasound tech that came, a culinary chef, and a plethora of other talents that came as support. And we all met at SFO, San Francisco International Airport on October 28th. And we were ready to fly out around 11:30 at night. And the flight was on Fiji Airways. And so we boarded that Airbus 380 and sat in there for 10 hours and 30 minutes. Actually, it was not too bad of a flight because it was all night. And for those who don't know where Fiji is in the South Pacific. It's very close to Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea. Many of you are familiar where Tonga and Samoa are. They're very close neighbors. It's a straight flight from SFO to Fiji, and oftentimes Fiji is used as a layover place to go to Australia. And it's about two hours or so, 2.5 hours from Fiji to Australia and New Zealand by airplane, not by car, but by airplane. There are about 300 islands that consists of Fiji, and inhabits about 2 million people. Most of them live on the island of Viti Levu. Fiji has kind of an interesting history where the natives in the past were cannibals. They had believed that the power and the spirit of the individual that would be transferred from that particular individual that you invited to dinner, and it would be transferred to you after eating them. Eating them. The practice of cannibalism ended when Christianity came to the island. When a minister, a Methodist missionary named Thomas Baker, came and was telling them that God condemns cannibalism. They didn't believe him though, and so they had him for dinner, and then but then they found that their crops started failing. Their fertile soil started become infertile. And they thought, wow, this is indeed a curse. And so at that point, they decided, well, we better give up cannibalism. And that year, the last person that was eaten was in the year 1844. Imagine that. Okay. And this is a portrait of a Fijian chief. This is one of the local historians was telling me about the legend of this chief that apparently ate one person short of 1,000 humans. He ate about 999 people in his lifetime. Apparently, if you look at him, he's pretty slim, and so eating people will keep you slim, I guess. Maybe from chasing them or something, I don't know. But, so I thought, well, 1,000 humans is quite a bit. But if you look, I found this article in USA Today from March 2015, and it says the average person, the average American, consumes over 7,000 animals during their lifetime. Kind of interesting, huh? And it breaks down to 11 cows, 27 pigs, 2,400 chickens, 80 turkeys, 30 sheep, and 4,500 fish. That's quite a bit of animals. I praise the Lord for being a vegetarian, so eating more tofu is not a bad thing. And beans, of course. So we landed safely at Nadi Airport at about 10:30 the following day. Actually, it's not the following, but the following day. So we lose a day on the travel out there because you travel past the international date line. So we landed and we got our bags, and then we went out and they said, no, you guys need to go to this vehicle out there. So they pointed to this truck, and I thought, wow, we're going to be gathering into this truck. I thought, wow, this is going to be really roughing it. This is going to be much more difficult than I thought. But then, this bus pulled up, and I thought, well, I think it's going to be nice. This will be a nice mission trip after all. In Fiji, there are about 25,000 members in 360 congregations, which then comes up to about 1% of the entire population of Fiji are Adventists. So it's a very small percentage. Many of our brothers and sisters, they worship in this structure here that you see where the ladies are coming from. This is one of the churches in Narewa, where there basically is a roof, there's some walls, but there's no windows or doors. And so most people worship sitting on the floor to worship. So when I saw that, I thought, wow, maybe not worshiping here at Haskell Hall is not a bad thing, is it? We got a nice place to worship. 65% of the population there are under the poverty line, according to the health director there. They don't have very much things. Many of the homes that I saw there did not have furniture. They oftentimes sleep on the floor. They cook outside. They collect their waters in cisterns. They get water from the streams. But the people there are very clean. They're very organized and extremely friendly. When you pass by some of the people there, they would just wave and say, "Bula, bula, bula vinaka." And you have to say it that way, with kind of guttural sound, But everybody is very friendly there. And the thing over there is that it's socialized medicine. It's something that many people want to have here in the United States, where everybody has free care, free medicine. But the problem that they have over there is that the access for medicine is very poor. I've spoken to one of the local providers that I worked with, and he relayed to me that he has to see anywhere between 50 to 60 patients a day. And I thought, wow, for me, seeing 30 is like an exhausting day. And a lot of the providers that I work with, see about 15 to 18 patients a day. And so it's, these doctors are working really hard, and then they're seeing patients really quickly. And the other thing too is that if you want to have surgeries, if you want to have any special procedures like a heart cath, if you want to have scans like MRIs or CT scans, they're only available at the major cities like Nadi and Suva, which is the capital of Fiji. So you have to travel a long distance to get those things done. Here are some pictures of one of the major towns, which is Nadi. It has a population of 42,000. The capital city of, as I mentioned, is Suva, which houses the SDA conference. The population of Suva, the capital, is almost twice the size, with 93,000. The major religion in Fiji is Catholicism. The next major religion there is Hindu, and next is Muslim, and Adventism is somewhere down below in the list. The island there is beautiful. The water is just turquoise color. It's warm. The sand is white. It's a beautiful place to be. So we rolled into the SDA campgrounds in Duba, and where the clinic was to be held. And it was kind of nice too, because the clinic was sitting right on the beach. I'm sure you felt bad for me working on the beach. But anyway, we received a warm welcome from the conference president, Elder Lutuna Liwa, and he gave us a nice warm welcome as we rolled in. We had to opportunity to meet some of the Fiji conference leaders. The person to the left of Christian, your right, there is the president, Elder Luti Tuna Luia. And the person that is second to the left, on your left, the skinny gentleman, is Dr. Akila, who is the director of the health ministries of Fiji. And this is our team before we started to see patients. And our hotel was about a 15-minute walk along a dusty, sandy trail. This is our daily commute every day in the morning, and then this is the same trail that we had to come back to as well and walk along. So I'm sure this was very very laborious place to go, if you see. It was quite nice. Now, many of the people would travel 3 to 6 hours. I heard that some people have traveled up to 6 hours by buses and most of the times in these trucks. And the majority of people in Fiji don't own cars, and they come by these large trucks, and they also came by longboats from the different islands. And so it was quite an interesting thing to see them coming in from the other islands on the boats. And they would have to wait for hours. They would wait for hours to see the surgeon, the dentist, or the medical provider. And it's very hot there. And you're sweating all the time. You're constantly drenched with sweat because the humidity is high. Even though it was like in the high 80s, the humidity made it even more hot. And the people had to sit and wait underneath these canopies, and they would be all sweaty. And many of them would bring hand towels. I see them, they bring hand towels, and they'd be wiping sweat off of their faces all day. And sometimes what happens is the air is not moving, and so they would try to make their own air. They would start swinging their towel around. And I experienced this because one of my patients was sweating to death, and he wiped his sweat off, and he started fanning himself, and I got sprayed by this mist of water. And like, wow, this is a lot. They sweat a lot here. And so people endure long waits just to see the medical providers and the dentists. Now here's Bonnie and her men, the dentists, and they're going to give us a report on the dental clinic.
Good evening. It was quite an experience to go to Fiji. Early in the year, we have been in Africa, and then now in Fiji. Totally different mission. But one of the things that intrigued me about Fiji is how hot it was. I tend to just sweat a lot. It was dripping everywhere when I was trying to work, and I had to have a towel to constantly dry myself. But we saw a variety of type of patients. Most of them suffer from gum disease, a lot of tartar, cavities, and just teeth that were completely destroyed. They're very tough people. I don't know how they can stand some of the disease, dental disease that is in their mouth. In addition to that, a lot of them had diabetes. They had high blood pressure, which created a problem for us dentists, and just also heart disease. Whenever we assess somebody before we do treatment, we want to look and see we're gonna make it worse for them. There was one patient that my wife sent to me. He says, you got to do something for him. You see, he had come in, his blood pressure was like about 180 over 114, and nobody wanted to do treat him because he was having a toothache. He had a wisdom tooth that was completely decayed and was causing him a lot of pain. We try, to wait it out and see if his blood pressure would go down. It never went down. And so my wife sent him to me, and I said to myself, Lord, you're going to have to help me here. Because, I'm taking a big risk because he had the stroke level with his blood pressure. So I had a prayer. I gave him as much anesthetic that has no vasoconstrictor, no adrenaline in it, just the plain anesthetic, to the point where his pain was gone. He said, oh, no, I don't feel any more pain. And then I said, should I take it out or not? Because I expected the thing was going to bleed a lot. So I went in there, telling, Lord, you know how this one is going to come out. And I just kept pulling. He came out. He didn't bleed. I was able to put just a gauze, and the rest of the day when I would see him, because we were having evangelistic series meetings afterwards, he would come in and he just touched me like this. He was so grateful that he was out of pain. Doing dentistry in the mission, you can say is a humanitarian gesture. And that alone is not why I'm involved in it. I'm involved because I believe is the entering wedge for the gospel. I believe it opened hearts. I've seen it as people are so grateful for what you've done for them that they're willing to listen to you. Well, I'm not a preacher, but when others are there that are in the, preaching, like in a case we had Christian Berdal, everything that we did for those people opened their hearts to hear what his message was. And so that is my call for all of you, is that if you have an opportunity to be involved in ministry, it doesn't have to be medical ministry. It could be anything. Do it. People are searching for the Lord, but they don't know. Until you show them your heart, you show them by doing something for them, selflessly, they're willing to hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
I'd like to just tell you one experience that I had when we were there. There was a mom that came, and she had a 4-year-old little boy, and he had had some dental treatment done previously, so he wasn't too excited to be there. So he and his mom sat in the dental chair, and he would not cooperate with the dentist. And the dentist was really good and, tried to talk to him and make friends and everything, but he just, I think he started crying so the dentist could actually look into his mouth and kind of see what was there. And this little boy, all of his front teeth were black. You don't want black teeth. You want your teeth to stay white. When your teeth are black, they're rotten, they need to come out. And so he wasn't able to do anything for that little boy on the first day that they came. But he went and talked to the person that...
We had an anesthesiologist.
Was it anesthesiologist?
Yeah, he was a nurse anesthetist.
Yeah. There was a nurse anesthetist with us, and he went and the dentist went and talked to him and said, do you think you can put this little boy out so I can pull all those teeth? And so we went and talked to the mom and kind of explained to her what that would mean. It's a dangerous thing to put your child out, but it's also dangerous to have all those black teeth in his mouth. So the mom agreed to come back. And, I didn't know where she came from. I didn't know how long it took her to get there. I didn't know if she would come the next day, but I was watching for her. And when I saw her, I was so happy. And she decided to let us go ahead and do that procedure. So we were able to put him out, and the dentist was able to get all the rotten teeth out of his mouth. And then we talked to the mom and just tried to explain to her, you know, you've got to take care of his teeth. You need to brush and try not to give him a lot of sugar and sweets, and, you know, take care of his teeth. Otherwise, the permanent teeth that come in will also not be good. And we saw a lot of that, just kids that just had a lot of rotten teeth. Adults that we pulled a lot of teeth on because we couldn't do root canals or crowns while we were there. So, you know, my encouragement to you is if you're in relationship with anybody that needs some dental education, please give it, because it can make a big difference in their life. And just a couple other things I wanted to share. Some of it is Tom already shared. We originally expected to maybe see about 400 people during the 4 days we were there, but they went ahead and advertised, the Fiji conference advertised that we were coming, and they had an online registration, and about 1,200 people showed up on the registration. And I don't know how many more people just ended up walking on, but we ended up seeing like 1,205 people, and that was through dental treatment, medical treatment.
Dental treatment was 356 patients we saw.
And there were there was a OBGYN and two surgeons that were taking out lymphomas.
No,
Lymphomas, which I never knew they existed, but these were huge tumors, non-cancerous tumors that were growing on different parts of their body, and it was really sad to see them, but it was nice to see that we were able to help the ones that we did. Over there, because of how their healthcare system is set up, let me just try to find my notes here.
It was actually lipomas. I made a mistake.
As he said over there, healthcare isn't very good. There's a lot of health professionals that don't stay in that country. They end up leaving because it's just hard to practice there, and hard for them to raise their families there. And so most people don't have the opportunity to go to a hospital to get treatment. Some of these, one of the lipomas that I saw, and I don't think we have a picture of it, but it came off of a lady's back, and it was about this big, and it almost looked like a baby. I mean, it was, and you know, she was so happy, and anyway, it's just very gratifying when you have the opportunity to go in and share and help people wherever you may be, whether you go to a foreign country or you just stay right here. I know this church is very outreach minded, and if you aren't involved already, I would encourage you to get involved. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that report on the dental clinic. You had like about 3 more minutes. Okay, here's some more of the dental clinic. This is how the dental clinic looked before they started their work. And then on the medical side, actually from the medical side, we had the Shens, Roger and Jasmine. Roger is has a doctorate in dietetics, and he led the medical clinic. His wife Jasmine, who is a physician assistant over at Stellant Health, also worked with us in the medical side. Other colleagues, it was Shelley, my wife, was working with me. She worked with the discharge planning. And the Mindoros, Andrea, she's a family nurse practitioner, and Ken is also a family practitioner who works for the county prison system. We all worked together during that time. And Jan will be giving us more detailed information shortly. His is one of the local doctors that worked with us. And it was kind of an interesting experience, it's not normally the way I practice. A lot of it was on paper, so I had to spend a lot of time writing, spend a lot of time praying, and I was seeing as many patients as I can, probably 30 patients plus a day. A lot of them were diabetics, as Abel had mentioned, hypertensive patients, a lot of the diseases that we see here in the United States. And a lot of times they would come in with some side effects with some of their medications. And they would complain to me, oh, I'm diabetic, I have metformin, I'm on metformin, I'm having trouble with diarrhea. It's a common side effect of metformin. And so I was thinking, well, as an astute internist, I'd say, well, we're going to change your medication. We're going to change it to pioglitazone. It does not have the side effect of diarrhea. And I said, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing a wonderful job. I write out my instructions, and then my instructions would then go to the local doctor. And the local doctor will decipher what I've written, and actually my wife would have to decipher what I've written, and then they will tell the doctor this is what he wants, and then she and he would write out all the prescriptions for me, and then you give the prescription to take it to the pharmacy. And another patient comes in, oh, doctor, I've got hypertension, and I've got this cough. Well, what medicine are you on? I'm on enalapril. Enalapril. Wow, I just said, boy, that's an old drug. I haven't used that since residency. They're using old drugs here. That's the reason why you're having problems. And you have to take it twice a day. There's probably poor compliance. That's why your blood pressure is going high. You need to be changed to another blood pressure medicine that does not have cough, and you just they need to take it once a day. So I wrote the prescription for losartan. I'm doing this great thing. Doing this all day for 2 days straight. And then after the second day of doing all this, I come to find out through the grapevine that the local doctor was changing everything. He was changing everything back from a pioglitazone back to metformin, changing my prescriptions from losartan back to enalapril. And I said, why are they doing that? Why in the world are they doing that to me? I'm working so hard. I'm thinking I'm doing something good here. But apparently the problem is that their formulary to get free medicine is very limited. They only had they maybe had amlodipine and enalapril for their blood pressure control, and insulin and metformin for their diabetic control. And so that was the reason why they would change things back, because they could not afford the more expensive medication. And another thing that had happened is that I had another patient that came in that had heart failure. He brought in all his records. Actually, it was kind of challenging because they would not have their records most of the time. They do not know what medications that they're on. But this one patient came in that said, oh yeah, I was in the hospital for a while. I had heart failure. I got diabetes. My ejection fraction is right there, 35%. And I said, I got the great medication for you. I said, you need to be on Farxiga. And then I said, I went to the local doctor, and I said, do you have Farxiga on the formulary? So I was smart enough at that point to know that I need to talk to the local doctor. So do you have Farxiga on the formulary? Of course, it just came out within the last year. We just got the indication for heart failure. He says, what is that? So I said, okay, well, forget about that idea. So it's one of the things that's difficult, it's challenging to treat a lot of these patients, is that they have in order to be on the free formulary for their medications, you just have a few medications to work with. So when the Fiji conference gave permission for the free clinic, they were all excited. The Fiji government was excited, and they said, well, we got all these tents we got these tents that we use for COVID, and you can use this for free. You could use all these tents for free. And so we used one of these medical tents here for our these tents for our medical clinic. You can see here my wife Shelley is inspecting one of these tents. One of the things is that you can see that it was right on the beach. So I can hear the roar of the beach. It's really nice. But I couldn't see anything because there was a big hill beside the window that I was working from. But besides, I was moving from one patient to another so fast that I could not see any of the beauty out there. I was locked in that hot tent. Most of the people there, most of the patients there were very strong. The younger patients, they're very strong, very muscular, and they did a lot of heavy lifting. A lot of their work is more manual labor. This gentleman here was carrying a lot of his goods along the road and was hit by a car, and his right knee got crushed. And he went to the hospital and was hobbling on it, and it was swollen. And he was kind of drunk at the time when he got hit. And he decided, I don't need any treatment. And so he came. They said, okay, then you should go to that free clinic. You should go to that free clinic in Duba. And so he came, and so he saw me, and his leg was really swollen. It was a big, it was like a grapefruit. And you move his knee. His knee was able to move this laterally and also transversely. So he can move the knee like this. But he was still walking on it. And I thought, well, okay. Well, I had my big 18 gauge needle. I had a 20 cc syringe, and I kept pulling out fluid, and I had to do that about 6 times. And so I pulled out like over 130 cc's of serosanguinous fluid out of that leg. But afterwards, he was just very grateful because he felt so much better afterwards. And anybody know what this is? Elephantiasis, yes, elephantiasis, excellent. We have some world travelers. And do you know what parasite this is caused by? Filariasis. And the vector is mosquitoes. And it was like very, very prevalent in Fiji in years back, and a lot of people had problems with elephantiasis. The larva of the filariasis would just enter in through the skin and grow and travel into the lymphatic system of the lower extremities and just ruin it. And so oftentimes the leg becomes swollen, and this is a permanent disabling problem. There's not that many there anymore, but there are a few people that have this. This is not treatable. You just have to treat it symptomatically. This person had ulcerations on the leg, which we were able to treat with local treatments. Fortunately, we had a Faye, who is a home care wound care nurse, and she did a lot of our wound care for us. Like this gentleman here who had very uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension. He went to his primary care provider, and it was told very quickly, within 30 seconds, he said, "Oh, you got ulcers. All you have to do is wash it with salt water and go home." And then so he didn't get any other instructions. Had just been told that, and he was one of the patients that lived in the interior, and he traveled about 3.5 hours to come see us. He come hobbling in with a stick, with a broken branch, and he come walking in, and he had this big ulceration on the dorsal part of the foot, top part of the foot, and also the plantar part of the aspect of the foot as well. And it was just draining, and it was ulcerating. And then he didn't have any shoes on, and all he had was a rag that he just wrapped around it like a bandana. And that's all he had. And then so we spent time talking with him, talking about the physiology, how important it is that you need to have his blood sugars under control, take your medicines regularly. We gave him, and Faye dressed his wound. We gave him some gauze. We gave him some medicated honey, and wrapped it up for him and told him what he should do. And then he was just in tears. He was just saying, "Nobody's ever treated us like this. I never got all this information. I've been treated so well here. God had sent you here." And it was just very heartwarming, even though I told him, you're most likely going to lose your leg. And he even after that news, he was just so happy the fact that we saw him, touched him, wrapped his leg, and cared for him. This is one of the larger goiters that I've ever seen. This is a policewoman that worked in Suva, and she wanted her goiter taken out and was told by her surgeons that they don't take care of these things and you just go home and live with it. And she came to the clinic and wanted to see whether or not we can do a thyroidectomy or to remove the goiter. We did have 3 surgeons, as Bonnie had mentioned. One of them was an ear, nose, throat specialist, and unfortunately, we did not have the equipment to be able to perform a thyroidectomy. So here are the 3 surgeons that came: Dr. Rice, Dr. Freed, and Dr. Greg that came. And they were, as Bonnie mentioned, most of them were doing lipoma surgeries and also other things that were taken out. This was a ball-sized tumor that looked like a granuloma from a foot injury. I think usually something got caught in the foot and then the body just kind of walls it off. So do you think this guy was a football player? No, it's a anyway. So the surgeons were able to remove that. And I think this was the lipoma that Bonnie was talking about, that these are large benign tumors that are in people. And the surgeons there don't want to take care of it, the local surgeons there, because they want to do other things that are a little bit more lucrative than taking out these benign tumors. But these benign tumors are very painful, uncomfortable, because they're very large, and then when you sit or when you're in certain positions, can be very problematic. We also had a team of young people. They participated as runners during the day. They were going from one clinic to another, getting supplies, very vital in communicating from the different parts on the campus. And they also, at night, they were evangelizing the young people, the children there locally, and they had children's programs doing songs and teaching them about Jesus. And it's wonderful to see the young people that are so excited and working to save souls. We were fed very well there. All the meals there were prepared outside and often on open fire. Everything was prepared by hand. A lot of the foods and vegetables and so forth were grown fairly locally. And I never was very hungry. I ate all the meals that they gave me. They were plant-based and very, very nutritious, and they're very, very pretty too, because there were a lot of different colors. But I think that there might have been a little bit of E. coli in each of the meals, because I had evidence of this because of personal, mild, daily gastrointestinal distress. Okay, now we're going to hear from our bean counter, Jan, for some statistics and his personal take on the trip from a non-medical view.
Thank you, Dr. Kanomata. Most accounts would probably take offense at being called a bean counter, but I do like my lentils and my garbanzo beans, so it's totally okay with me. So Dr. Kanomata asked me to be up here and talk about the numbers and what we did, those of us who weren't medical professionals. And there's, before he gave me 10 minutes, I told him all I'm going to be doing is talk about numbers, so you're probably not going to get more than 5 out of me. But I'd like to start off with my perspective, and before we...
Going forward.
Back one. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So this trip started. The planning stages started about 6 months before the trip took place, and our family decided maybe 3 months before the trip to commit to it. And my background is an accountant, as a controller, so I deal with numbers all day long. I look at financial statements. But not being a medical professional, we were kind of, wondering how can we contribute to this? So we decided 3 months before the trip to go. And then 2 months before the trip, as many of you know here, I had my heart attack. So at that point in time, as soon as I got back on my feet and at home, I checked with my cardiologist. I really wanted to go on the trip, and I said, am I okay to go on that trip 2 months after having a heart attack? And she said, well, if you're worried about blood clots, you're probably the safest person on the plane. You're not going to happen to you because you're on those blood thinners. So as soon as I got the blessing from my cardiologist, we decided to go through with the trip, and it was very much a blessing to us for Lydia and for Tudor as well. We didn't know what to expect. We've heard of all the mission stories, but we knew we were going to a nice place. That's for sure. But we wanted to see to help in whichever way we could, even though we're not medical professionals. She's taken a health class, and other than being able a heart attack survivor right now and give people tips on their eating habits, I'd rather stick to my numbers. So one of the things that I got out of the trip, and in helping all the people out, we saw them coming in at 7 o'clock in the morning usually. We're out there, we conducted a clinic for 4 days, 3.5 days really. And they would come, they did a very good job advertising for it, the local professionals did, and they would line up at 7 in the morning, and some of them would be there the whole day waiting their turn to be taken in. And because there are so many of them, we'd have to cut off the registration maybe halfway through the day, and then anybody who came, they would sit under those tents in hot weather and just wait their turn. And I did not see one of them that would complain. They were all very gracious. Our numbering system wasn't the best, so I'm sure that we allowed some people ahead of others that probably waited in line longer, but none of them complained. They're all just grateful to be there. And some of them would travel from long distances, other islands. They came by boat, like was already mentioned. Some of them came from the highlands in buses, many of them in a bus. And some of them stayed at our evangelistic meetings. Others had to leave, unfortunately, because they had a long trip ahead of them to go home. So it was the one thing I regretted was not being able to help more people out. Not being a medical professional, I saw the need there. Not only the need for medical healing, but as Dr. Kanomata mentioned, then they're more open to hearing the gospel as a result of that. And what I'm going to show you is kind of the layout of our clinic. This is where the entrance to the camp where it was held. Back there, you can notice there's a big island in the back. That's the elephantitis island. That's where a lot of the people with that disease came from.
You have to go into the next slide, the next monitor.
So, I'm trying to stop it right now. Nope.
Oh.
So those tents, you saw some of those tents. We had in the beginning, we had the registration tents, and those are also the same tents that the children at night would hold a VBS sessions with their kids. Beyond those tents, then were big tents set up by the Fiji National University for the people to stay under and wait their turn to be seen. Those are the blue tents that you see back there. The A-frame cabins are basically the cabins where the staff, the volunteer to help out, they came and they lived there for the whole week. And then beyond the blue tents, you see there's a facility with a kind of a light green roof, and that's really the all-purpose facility that was converted into the medical facility, and the right side of it, which was the the right side of it, which was like back here, was the kitchen was transformed into the surgical area. One thing is all this building had glass windows, which had to be kept open because of how hot it was. But that made it very challenging with the sand, as all the doctors and the dentists know, and even the laptops know it too. We a lot of way to blow out our sand out of our equipment at the end of each day. And then beyond that multi-purpose building, there's two smaller buildings in the back, and that's where where the medical professionals, not the dentist, had the most of the big building. In the back was the medical providers that had their patients there. And on the side, this tent here is where we had our breakfasts in the morning and lunches and dinners as well. All in all, was already mentioned, there were about 45 of us that went, 15 medical providers and dentists, 15 youth, about 10 medical support staff, and five of us who didn't have any medical background. As far as what the patients that we saw, it was already mentioned, Bonnie already mentioned, we saw over 1,250 patients in less than 4 days. And that's kind of the breakout by what they came in to be seen for. We had an eye team, a local eye team that came and helped out for 2 days, and they saw 140 patients. We did all the other ones, so you can see what the need was on this trip. And then also at the end of the trip, we ended up on the last day, we ended up helping about 30 to 50 volunteer staff who needed to be seen for medical reasons. So they welcomed us as well to help them out. And then during the day, we had health talks on how to eat better and nutrition. And we had local staff there that helped out with that. We also had our own team that helped with that. And in the evenings, we had the evangelistic meetings held by Christian Berdahl in the main tent. And then the kids had the VBS program on the far side. And here's kind of the numbers in summary of what was going on. Very, very elevated blood pressures, you can see, for both the male and the female population. The BMIs were very high. That's the body mass index. You know, a healthy one is between 8.5 and 25. On average, the adult population under 30, they were overweight. If they were over 30 years old, they were obese. So as a result of that, they were experiencing some of the problems that Dr. Kanomata and Dr. Loredo was talking about. And for the BMI, so 9% had a healthy BMI, 23 were overweight, and 2/3 of the population that we saw was obese. So that obviously leads to a lot of health problems. And what they ate was, you would think that they had good natural food to eat. They had coconuts, they had pineapples, great pineapples. But we went to their stores to see what they would buy at the store, and the legume and the produce section was very minimal. So a lot of the foods that you saw in the stores were boxed, processed food that was imported from the US, from Australia, from New Zealand. So, and some of there was a taro root, was some of the other fruit. Cassava, taro root, so in big quantities, that's not healthy either, right? So, yeah, it was interesting to see what they eat and what they have available. And for me, they knew I had a health. 2 days into it, they figured out that I can't eat what they're eating, so they were putting aside a oil-free salad for me to have, and I was very grateful for that. They picked up that I'm not going to eat everything that they're preparing, but they use a lot of coconut oil, and they have coconut milk. But yeah, their diet needs to change for sure to help out with their health issues. And then on the glucose, you can see that the milligrams per deciliter, the female population has a slightly higher level, and the male population up to 40 years old was on average pre-diabetic, and the rest of the population on average was diabetic. So 20% of the adults that we saw had healthy glycemia, 30 were pre-diabetic, and half of them were diabetic. So, and on the registration forms that we got ahead of time from them, only 15% of them, so 1 out of 6, would report that they had either hypertension or heart disease or diabetes. So a lot of them, you know, they wouldn't go to their local doctors, and they didn't know they had the issues that they were having. So that's pretty much it on the numbers side. We're very blessed and fortunate to go there and help out in whichever way we can, and we're going to try to keep it going. It's important. They have staff there, obviously, but it's important to provide a helping hand. And what I want to encourage those of you who are thinking about going, they're not medical professionals. Chapter 12 of 1 Corinthians came to me, where it talks of unity and diversity. We all have our own roles, our own gifts, our own skill sets that we can help out with. We just have to be led by the Spirit and let God use us in whichever way we can serve others. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Jan.
I have my 3 minutes back.
You can.
I just asked him for my 3 minutes back. So just a couple of things I wanted to share. Christian Berdal sent a newsletter out recently talking specifically about our trip, and I'd just like to read some of that. After 4 days in Deuba, which is the main place we had the clinic, we left for an area called Nakavika in the highlands. There we met up with Amelia, a nurse practitioner who has faithfully served her fellow Highlanders for years. As she walked or rode a horse from village to village in the largely Catholic region, dispensing health care to families, a dream for a clinic grew in her heart. For more than 10 years, she and others have possessed a desire to ease the pain and suffering of those less fortunate people. She explained to us that villagers find it beyond difficult to gain access to medical care. They are quite poor, and most of them are farmers, so they are quite impoverished and have no transportation down to the city other than their feet to carry them. Many make the day-long hike down the mountain, following the path of the river. They have to cross the same river on foot 22 times on the way to the coast. And this is not a river that you're wading in. This is a river that's like up to your waist at times. Regularly, a pregnant woman will deliver her baby while making the hike. Fathers cut the umbilical cord, load the baby into a blanket or box, and continue the journey to medical care, lifting the babe over the rapid waters in the flooded regions. Imagine just delivering a child and having to get back up and hike for the rest of the day, crossing and recrossing the river. Amelia's family donated land, and a small SDA church was built on it. The clinic will also be built on the property. We have been working with an architect, and the clinic plans are being finalized. A surveyor has been commissioned, so the clinic will be placed appropriately. Soil testing is about to begin. The next phase of the project, missionary housing, is currently being designed, and the final plans will be in hand any time now. As usual, funding is crucial. Your partnership to help provide basic medical ministry to thousands of Highland Fijians is essential. The deep influence this SDA-operated clinic will have cannot be estimated. Men, women, and children will be in the kingdom because of your help. And if you are, by any chance, interested in helping financially, you can contact Christian Berdal. His website is
We'll be putting it up.
Oh, so yeah, he's going to give you information. So anyway, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, this is a health talk that Roger and Dr. Lou has been doing every night during the meetings, as Jan was saying. And this is Milo. I had him pose with this bottle of Coca-Cola, and that goes out a lot. A lot of these things are going out in these stores. As you can see, there's a lot of packaged foods from the various countries that have been imported in, and that's kind of like the staple of a lot of the people there. That's the reason why that they're quite overweight. And as Jan has mentioned, we had nightly meetings. Christian Berdal was giving meetings, talking from anywhere from the Sabbath to the Millennium, State of the Dead. And it started around 6:30 at night, and it went to about 9. I was very tired, and so it was like I couldn't make it to much of the meetings, and went to bed at around 5 or 8:30 and got up at 5 the next day. But you know, unfortunately, I wasn't the only one that was tired from the daily work. So at the end of the clinic, we spent. They had gave us a warm farewell, thank you. They all gave us gifts of these sarongs that they gave us individually as a farewell gift, and also some hygiene material that are local from Fijian products. And all the locals and the church members came and sang us a native farewell song, which was quite moving. We did spend a couple of days in R&R. We got on a boat and saw some islands out there with the turquoise waters. It was beautiful out there. You can see a lot of fish, and collected a lot of shells. That was a lot of fun. And this is the site that Bonnie was talking about. And this is Amelia, who's the one in the blue dress. She was the one that has been serving the people up in the highland area. They donated the land in the village of Nakavika. The Granite Bay Church and Shepherd's Call Ministries are sponsoring the clinic that's going to house 3 delivery suites, exam rooms for primary care, surgical suites as well. And it's going to serve around 8 or 9 of the villages that are surrounding. They're planning on the construction is planned to be of concrete. Most of the buildings there are wood, as you saw, and this concrete buildings can withstand cyclones much better than wood buildings. The cyclones hit the island periodically. The most recent one that just went by, a Category 3 cyclone, just missed the island by a few miles a week after we left. And so it just devastates the people there. It just devastates the people, these hurricanes. And COVID also devastated the economy there because the economy is predominantly tourism. There's a lot of children that were there, beautiful children. They're very polite and they're fun children. They don't have anything. And so they don't have any toys per se, so they use the local things that they have, the things in nature. They're hardworking, very, very beautiful children that was there. And one of the highlights was this ceremony that they gave us in Nakavika. We presented, Dr. Liu and Christian Berdal had presented the actual building of the site. And it was just amazing that almost the entire villages from surrounding areas came to this ceremony or this viewing, and they gave Christian Berdal a special gift, which is given only to chiefs, which is a whale tooth. It's a whale tooth. You know, the island of Fiji is beautiful. The people there are just beautiful equally, and they're so friendly. They don't have very much. Including access to health care, as Bonnie had said, especially those who are in the interior of the land, in the highlands. They have to travel great distances. During that presentation, the president of the Fijian SDA conference said, and this kind of stuck to me a little bit, because he said, you people here are from America, from America, are like Jesus. They said, oh, that's really nice. He kind of quoted, you want to be like Jesus. That was a wonderful compliment. He said, you guys are like Jesus, who left his mansion in heaven and traveled a long distance way to earth and came to help humanity on earth and was in a manger. It says, you people left your large mansions in California and traveled a long way to come this manger in Fiji to help us. And that kind of hit me, and I thought, well, I felt really bad. I feel very terrible. Yeah, we here in America have abundance. We have a lot, a lot here. And what we need to do is, as Bonnie said, we need to help our brothers and sisters around the world that need help. We need to give them the message of Jesus. And if you point your phone to this QR code, and they'll take you to the site where if you would like to donate, and go to the Fiji Mission Fund, and you can help this project. During this holiday season, we encourage you to continue to pray for ourselves, for this campus here in Weimar, for our church, and our brothers and sisters around the world, especially our people in Fiji. And our team is hoping to go back again next year in August. You may want to consider joining us in this trip. You may also consider helping us, helping this project financially. The goal is to try to raise about $167,000 for the clinic and $158,000 for staffing for the people that are going to be working in the clinic. The land has already been purchased and is given. The building has been designed. Now we're going to be starting to raise funds for this to lay the groundwork to build the structure. So I encourage all of us to be a part of this mission. I know we got a lot of projects that are going around too we want to support. Jesus is coming soon. We see it and all around. We want to tell all our brothers and sisters. We want to see everybody in the kingdom of heaven. Let's all stand and sing our closing song, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, 122.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy
prayer, I would like to remind everyone that tomorrow we're going to have our regular meetings here, Sabbath school, and also the divine service. I understand that Dr. Netley will be presenting tomorrow, right? Yeah, so please make plans to join us and fellowship with other believers tomorrow. And thank you for this report. Was that a blessing, everyone? Yeah, it's inspiring, isn't it? Yeah. So let's have a word of prayer and thank God. Dear Lord, we want to thank you because we see how you work through us. And today we saw members of this community present a report of the things they've done in faraway lands, and this has been inspiring for us. As we go back home, we want to have your blessing in the same way that you have been with us throughout the week. Give us a special blessing this evening. Be with our loved ones and our families. And please, Lord, give us the right attitude, the motivation to come to this place tomorrow and fellowship and learn more about you. We humbly ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen. Good evening, everyone.